Welcome into Carpooling with Ben. Today I am honored to have Meredith Ewenson of Newport Film. And it's an ongoing series that you guys have been running for a number of years now down in Newport and in the surrounding community. Talk to me about this. This is like the coolest thing because you guys, it's not just a weekend film festival. You guys feature films all year long.
Yeah, we do. We have films all year long. Usually, our busiest season started last week, and it'll be every Thursday night in a different location, all over Aquidneck Island, a different documentary, and they're all free. So super fun. We do stuff all year round, but the summer is really our best, most fun time of the year.
Who doesn't love being down on the island in the summertime?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the place to be. So, how did it all get started, and what was the mindset behind it?
Yeah, so Newport Film, this will be our 8th summer, which is crazy to me that it's been that long. I've been there for almost 6 years now, so it feels like it went by so fast.
She started when she was 10.
Yeah. So, Newport Film, this is our 8th summer, and it just started out of the need of wanting to bring documentary film to the island, to the area. And there had been an old film festival, Newport International Film Festival, which ended years ago now. And so that was sort of the film festival in the area, and when that ended, some people got together, decided they wanted to fill the void of film in that way and specifically focus on documentaries, and so here we are 8 years later doing about 25 to 30 events a year.
Wow, that's a lot of events to put together.
It is,
So the staff is what, how many hundred people?
4 people.
4.
We have 4 people. We have a number of interns throughout the year, and we have a lot of volunteers that help us at events.
4 people.
Yes.
And I mean, obviously the volunteers are the army of like all the great theaters and organizations we have in New England. So just documentaries.
Yes.
And some of these documentaries are of things and topics that you've never heard of. How has that been, how has the response been with people for that?
Yeah, it's been really good, actually. The first few years we were around, I think because we were new, it took a little bit for people to understand who we are, what we're doing, and to really trust what we're showing, because the films that we bring to Newport Film are usually have not been shown on the internet, on TV, on Netflix, in theaters, or anything like that yet. So there isn't that whole Hollywood buzz often around the films we're showing.
Okay.
So it takes a little bit of education, a little bit of people trusting us to come out to the film and trust that they're going to have a really good experience. And so after a few years now, I think we've definitely noticed we have a lot of people who just come to every event, and sometimes they ask, like, once they get there, what are we watching tonight?
There you go.
Like, they totally just come. We have a few people, we know some of them by name, and we see them at every single event.
Well, that speaks to the trust that they have in the, in the leadership of the organization, as far as you're not going to bring a product that's not worthy of Newport Film. Yeah. And you're going to bring something that's going to educate and inform and entertain. Yeah, that's huge. That's awesome. How do you find your films, and who does it? Where are these films coming from?
Yeah, it's a good question. A lot of people ask that. So they come from all over the place, which is the broad answer. But Andrea Van Buren, she's the co-founder and artistic director of Newport Film. She personally has a large passion for documentary films and has been involved with them in all types of facets for a long time. So she, for the most part, curates what we show. So she'll go to Sundance Film Festival. She lives in New York, so she'll go to Tribeca Film Festival and Doc NYC and all the different festivals in the area, and really try to pick what she thinks is going to both resonate with Newport and be kind of the best that there is on the market, I guess you could say right now. Terry Connors, our executive director, she also goes to some festivals and helps pick some films, and we also have a screening committee of a couple people, a few people that will watch some if we're not quite sure, or we just want to get a broad idea of how people feel about a film. And then occasionally some of us that work there get to watch them if we really need to kind of decide how we're feeling about it. So it's a long process, but
well, these films are literally coming from all over the world then.
Yeah, occasionally someone might email us and say they have something, but for the most part, they're sought out by Andrea or Terry and kind of chosen as these are going to be the right ones for us here.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What has been your favorite film? Am I not allowed to ask that question?
No, please ask. You can totally ask.
You're not allowed to ask Ronald McDonald what his favorite food is at McDonald's because he can't answer it. Everything's his favorite. He can't have one specialty. But with the films, is there anything that's resonated with you?
Yeah, it's really interesting. And I mean, having worked there, obviously I'm not an audience member, but I am because I watch the films for the first time at some point as well. And
of course.
So I'm always surprised when I watch something that I might think might not at all be of interest to me, but then when I watch it, it's the human story, it's how the film is made, it's how it's edited, it's the beautiful maybe photography in it that like really can capture something interesting that you don't even realize maybe you would want to watch. But really my favorite documentaries for the most part that we've shown have been the music documentaries.
Okay.
We showed one called Muscle Shoals with the Folk Festival a couple years ago.
Cool.
That was really cool if you're into like 60s, 70s rock and roll. Everyone from the Rolling Stones to like, I don't know, everyone. Absolutely anyone that's popular. They've been featured in that film, and it's a really, really cool story. Another one, Under African Skies, which is a Paul Simon documentary.
Oh, cool.
About his Graceland album, which was really cool. Also an awesome story. I mean, it's
nothing to do with Lion King then.
Lion King. No.
Not Under African Skies. I figured because we're
we're
kind of near the whole
Lion
Pride
King.
Rock in Newport thing right now too. So I was thinking, like, nothing like that.
No, Hanging Rock is right there, over there, one over here somewhere.
It's around. It's around.
No Lion King, but those are a couple of my favorites that pop into my head. I mean, there are so many. It just depends, like, what kind of mood you're in. I mean, we'll do anything from sports documentaries to music to animals to politics. I mean, you name it. There's documentary on it. We've probably shown it.
That's awesome. What's the average length of the films that you show? Is it vary, or is there a guideline you try to stay with?
So a feature length, we show mostly feature length documentaries, and a feature length documentary is over an hour. Okay. Usually they're around an hour and 15 to an hour and 45 minutes, somewhere in there.
All right.
Occasionally we'll show some short films. For instance, last week at the Second Beach, we showed 2 short films that were ocean shorts. So every once in a while, that just kind of happens where we'll find a couple short films that we want to show as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that for the summertime, the admission's free.
Yes.
But you guys need support somehow, so do you guys have concessions? Is there a way to make donations or give or be a part of it?
Yeah, so our films are all free, but there's a suggested $5 donation for anyone who wishes to donate.
Still, that's a ridiculously insane cheap price.
It's a lot cheaper than going to the theater, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, and anyone who donates $5, for every $5 donation you make, you get entered in a raffle. Oh. And we draw a raffle before every film where you can win a gift certificate, usually about $50, to a local Newport restaurant.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
that's a great way to tie in the community and everything else that's happening as well. That's excellent.
Yeah, and we do have food vendors, and that's kind of separate. They sell whatever food that they want, and you can bring food if you'd like. The summer series, the Newport Film Outdoor Series, is sponsored by Lila Delman, Real Estate International. So very generously, they make it possible for us to have these events be pretty much free.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, in the off-season, the non-summertime, what are some of the venues you use to show the films?
So a lot of times we'll use the Casino Theater, which is right behind the Tennis Hall of Fame, not the slots.
Right.
Occasionally we'll have someone show up late and be like, I was at the slots.
I was at Newport Highlight.
Yeah, no, not there. The beautiful
Where are the horses?
Stamford White Casino Theater.
Yeah.
That's where we show a lot of the indoor films. We'll do a couple here and there at the Jane Pickens as well.
Okay.
Of course, that's right downtown.
Yep.
And then we do try to get a little creative with some of our venues in the off season as well, where we might use a mansion ballroom for an indoor documentary. We did a documentary about Gloria Vanderbilt. We showed it in the ballroom of the Breakers, which was her home as she was growing up.
Sure.
So we try to make those little connections as often as possible.
It's a tiny little bungalow in Newport.
A summer house.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we'll try to do fun stuff like that as well. The Preservation Society is great to us, and we use a lot of their venues as well.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
So what is the most unknown thing about Newport Film? What is something that people just don't realize about what you guys do?
That is a good question that I don't know if I have the answer
Really?
to.
I mean, because it's evident that your operation depends heavily on donations of people, donations from people, and volunteers.
Yes. So I would say one of the things that people often don't realize is there are only 4 staff members, like we talked about before.
Yeah.
A lot of people think we have like a whole production crew and all this stuff, and we really don't. Like, we have 4 people.
Yeah.
And of course, like you said, a lot of volunteers. I think another thing people might not know or realize is that 75% of what we do is free. So we do 25 to 30 events over the year. Some of them have a ticket price. Some have a little bit of a higher ticket price, but for the most part, they're all free. And a lot of that's because we have great donors and sponsors and people in the community that give their $5 when they come to the free event.
Sure.
Or donate their time or whatever it is. So.
And that's great because, you know, you're really helping to promote the art and give people a venue to display the work that they've done on a local level, and really, cultivate some an organic kind of feedback and growth with it to begin with.
Yeah,
That's
organic,
awesome.
I would say, kind of feels like the word that we end up tossing around, or it feels that way a lot.
Yeah.
Because although some of the films we show, a lot of them aren't made by local filmmakers necessarily, but they're worldly topics or themes that resonate with a lot of people. But we do try to tie in the community very heavily with the venues that we use, partnering with different organizations, partnering with other nonprofits, and sometimes we might split the proceeds from an event with them, so that, if it's a film about dogs in an animal shelter, we've partnered with maybe the Potter League or different Rhode Island shelters to bring awareness to what they're doing.
That's great. That's just bringing more audiences in and helping spread their message and helping spread your message at the same time. That's nothing better than that.
Yeah, it's nice to have the platform to be able to share other people's mission while ours at the same time, and get everyone involved. And with film, I mean, you can't go wrong.
Very fitting for the city by the sea. The rising tide lifts all boats.
That is true.
So if people want to get involved or get a hold of you guys, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so our website, everything you might need to know about us or how to get in touch is on newportfilm.com.
Okay.
And there's a section, I believe it's called Get Involved, and you can click there if you want to intern, if you want to volunteer, if you have a film suggestion. Any of those requests or inquiries can go through there.
Can I also order Polaroid film from there, from Newport Film?
You cannot.
Oh.
Yes, we do not produce films.
Oh.
So occasionally we might get the call. Someone
I can't get the old school flash bar. I used to plug it in and
I don't even know what you're talking about. I think I do.
12-year-old Meredith, ladies and gentlemen. They used to have these cameras that you had to put a flash bar in, and it had 6 flashes on one side, and you flipped it over, you plugged it in, 6 flashes on the other side, and it burnt out. Yeah. These are the days before pavement and roads and before cars, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing how far we've progressed. Do you know what a rotary telephone is?
Yes, I do. I'm not that young.
All right. Well, that's good.
haven't used one in my home, but I do know what that is.
Awesome. Well, Meredith, thank you so much for joining me in the car today. It was fascinating to learn about what you guys do, and your events are constantly intriguing online. You do a great job. Folks, if you want to follow them on Facebook, it's a great place to get all the information. They're always doing something different. And you never know. If you happen to take a yoga class somewhere in Newport, she might be your teacher. So pay attention. Study hard. She grades on a curve. Thank you so much.
Thank you.